Picture Europe in the summer of 1374, a continent still scarred by famine, war, and the lingering terror of the Black Death. People walked cautiously, whispering about plagues, harsh rulers, and omens from the heavens. Daily life was hard, survival was a struggle, and superstition influenced every action. But amidst this fragile existence, something utterly unexplainable began to take hold. In the towns along the Rhine, people started dancing, not in celebration, but in uncontrollable, torturous frenzy. They twisted, spun, screamed, and collapsed, driven by a force no one could see or comprehend. This event would later be remembered as the Madness of 1374, a terrifying, mysterious outbreak that still haunts the pages of history. To understand the scale and horror of the 1374 dancing outbreak, we must first step back into 14th century Europe. This was a world vastly different from ours. The Black Death had swept through the continent decades earlier, killing millions. Famine was common, crops failed, and malnutrition weakened communities. Political instability was rampant, with wars breaking out between feudal lords and kingdoms vying for power. Religion dominated daily life. People were intensely devout, fearing divine punishment for even minor sins. At the same time, superstition and folklore guided behavior. Witches, curses, and signs from God were taken seriously. In this fragile environment, communities were on edge. The slightest oddity could spark fear, chaos, or hysteria. The social and psychological pressures of the time were immense. People were surrounded by death, uncertainty, and religious anxiety. The mental health of the masses was largely ignored, and extreme stress often went untreated. When a strange event occurred, it could quickly escalate. Rumors and fear spread faster than facts. In 1374, these conditions created the perfect storm for one of the most bizarre and terrifying events in history. It was a time when fear could become physical, when the mind could seize control of the body in ways that were both inexplicable and deadly. The first reports of the dancing outbreak describe a single individual. Some records suggest it began with one woman whose feet began to move involuntarily. She danced for hours without rest, ignoring exhaustion and pain. Blisters formed on her feet, her muscles ached, but she could not stop. Neighbors watched in horror as she twirled and jumped uncontrollably, unable to intervene. Within days, others joined her. Men, women, and even children were affected. The frenzy spread like wildfire through the village. The phenomenon seemed unstoppable. People were trapped in a state of delirium, their bodies moving as if possessed by an unseen force. What began in one small village soon spread across the region. Eyewitnesses reported entire streets filled with dancers. The frenzy was not selective. Rich and poor, young and old, all were caught in the grip of this mysterious affliction. Families tried to restrain loved ones, but they could not be stopped. Their bodies were compelled to move, twisting and spinning, as if an invisible conductor orchestrated their agony. Priests attempted to intervene with prayers and exorcisms, while local doctors tried remedies based on the limited knowledge of the time. None succeeded. Panic swept through the towns. The fear of this uncontrollable madness gripped everyone, not just the dancers, but the entire community. This was no ordinary illness or superstition. It was a phenomenon that defied explanation, leaving chroniclers bewildered and terrified. Historians now speculate that multiple factors contributed to the outbreak. The stress of famine, disease, and social unrest could have triggered a form of mass psychogenic illness. Extreme anxiety and psychological strain often manifest physically, and in 1374, it appears that entire communities were affected. Environmental factors may also have played a role. Some theories suggest that contaminated rye, infected with ergot fungus, could have caused hallucinations, spasms, and convulsions. Whether it was psychological, environmental, or a combination of both, the result was terrifying. People driven to dance themselves into exhaustion, injury, and even death. thank you for watching my video.